What's up, Owl Nation? It's your host, Jalil Watson. We're back with another episode of the That's That Night podcast. Look, we're going to talk about everything that has been going on with the past couple of 2 weeks with women's basketball. We're going to talk about the ending of the men's basketball season and what's next to come with a lot more things with sports related, right? So, look, it's a lot to go over in this episode. Go grab your favorite beverage, grab your favorite snack, and let's get right into it. So, like I said, right? There's a lot to go over in this episode today. First and foremost, I want to congratulate Delaney Haynes, Katie Williamson for both getting first team All-NE10 and second team All-NE10. Katie getting second team All-NE10, Delaney getting first team All-NE10. I want to congratulate the men's basketball team, Sharif Diar going All-NE10 defensive team. I want to Tone and Albert All-NE10 first team. Congratulations to you guys. Y'all had an amazing season. Don't want to take nothing away from you. Moving on from that, though, I just really want to talk about what happened this past weekend with women's basketball regarding, their playoff game against Bentley. So we could talk about what happened with Bentley, right? So if you don't know, we ended up losing to Bentley 55-75 in the quarterfinal championship for the NE10. It was a hard-fought battle. Although the box score tells a different story, I feel like our girls went out there and played their best. And I know that Coach Lynch and her coaching staff went out there and coached their best. So, nonetheless, I want to congratulate them on, a terrific season that's still very much alive here. So, let's get right into it, right? Let's talk about what happened against Bentley and just about what we thought on our end. So, the first thing I want to talk about, like I said, we lost by 20 points. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, how did this happen, right? So, prior to this game coming about, I looked at some of the other games against Bentley from the season just to point out some key players. And when you look at the box score of this game and you really try to dictate from previous games, even to this game right here, who the key player was going to be, it was quite frankly obvious. It was the Maggie Whitmores, it was the Kylie Ducharme, and it was the Amanda Cabanatus, right? Kylie had 20 points with 10 rebounds. Kylie had 16 for 9, and Amanda had 14 with 5. A couple other players on their team went off. Nia Morgan ended up dropping 17. They shot very efficiently after the first quarter. They were rocking on all cylinders. However, on our portion of the side of things, I just feel like when you look at it, the realistics is we gave up 23 points off of turnovers. That's not going to cut it here. And, that's not to say that we can't pass the ball or we can't make the right passes. No, I'm pretty sure we're making the right passes. Bentley just has a good all around. They're 30-1 for a reason, and they have a lot of depth to sub players in and out of the game. They have a lot of good, talented players over there that could play some really good defense, if we're being honest. So we knew we was going to walk into a dogfight because we done played this team prior to this time 2 other times this season. So we knew we was walking into a dogfight. We knew what we were getting. We knew what type of game it was going to be. And it just, time and time again, we just didn't get the outcome that we wanted. So, like I said, we gave it 23 points off turnovers, and we allowed their bench to outscore us 21-11. That's why I spoke about, Bentley having depth on their team to be able to get girls in and out, because that means a lot. It means a lot. No matter how conditioned you are, you're going to get tired at some point. But the fact that you have enough depth at each position to alleviate that fatigue on the people that are in getting a lot of minutes, it helps out a lot. And especially when you're going against a team like Southern, who, no shade or anything, but we just don't have a lot of depth on our roster to, go toe-to-toe with a team that does. Another thing was, in this game, I feel like in the first quarter, we came out very sluggish. There was a point in time Bentley went on a crazy run in the first quarter. And we were down and we were playing from behind, but we ended up getting back into it at the end of the first quarter. Because we only were down 4 points at the end of the first. But as the game like progressively went on, another thing that I seen was they outscored us in every quarter. And to me, saying a sluggish start, we had a horrible fourth too. We got outscored 22-12, and we shot 27% from the field goal, and we only hit 3 of our shots in the fourth quarter. Fourth quarter is one of the most crucial quarters in basketball. That's where a lot of fourth quarter is a crucial quarter in sports in general. That's where the game is won for a lot of sports, right? From football to women's basketball to a whole bunch of things. So we really started to shoot ourselves in the foot there. And we didn't shoot well after the first quarter either. Because when you look at the box score and you look at the numbers, after the first quarter we shot 40%. We were 6 for 15. After that, we shot a smooth 33, 38, and then, like I said, we only hit 3 in the fourth. We shot 27%. For the overall game, we shot 35%. 35% from the field. And the only thing really going for us on offense was Delaney Haynes, and a couple of free throws. Like, we hit majority of all our free throws. But that's really what it was, you know. And that's a trend that we started to see with Kate Lynch and her team towards the end of the season, the last stretch of a couple of games, just not complete games of basketball, right? That's another thing. It wasn't complete games of basketball. But there's nothing wrong with that. To that point, it's just like we knew, like, you could see the trend that this was going to be an issue this game. There was a couple games prior to this game where we were slow on transitions on defense, letting the team get open threes, get open shots, and they were falling, and then that's how we would get into a deficit. Or after halftime or before halftime, we were either coming out sluggish and then had to come play from behind and get a win, or we started off right and halftime came and we couldn't finish it out. So another thing I want to talk about is the foul trouble too. Jill had 5, which kind of hurt us, if I'm being honest. And then Hope had 4. That's one of the 2 most important guards on the team. You getting them in foul trouble, you got to take them out at some point in the game so they don't get another foul and get fouled out the game. It puts us at a disadvantage. It truly does. Because like Caitlin says all the time, Hope does a lot that does show up on the stat sheet, from taking charges, getting all types of fouls, to getting still. Like, Hope does it all. She does a lot for the team. So does Jill. Jill's the facilitator, and to have those 2 in foul trouble, the night ain't looking good. I'm sorry. But despite the loss, despite not winning any 10, Kay Lynch and her team were still one of the top teams in the region for Division II in women's basketball, right? So you know what that means. We got some more basketball coming up, because our Lady Owls got their ticket punched and they're going to the Division II tournament, and they played nobody else than St. Anselm, who we lost to on senior night in a crazy game that went into overtime off of a fourth quarter buzzer beater shot made by St. Anne's. The season is very much still alive. We didn't win the conference, but we could potentially win a national championship. If not, at least make a deep run into the playoffs, right? And what I did was I wanted to look at this as I was looking at all the teams who in each region that made it. I looked at a couple of these teams from the regions that are, you know, whose records are good, who are historically good in Division II basketball, and I compared them to Southern's. Like, currently, our scoring margin has to increase, right? We're only averaging a 10.2 gap between the other team and us at the end of the game when we do win. However, when you look at schools like Edinburgh, who has 12.3, Bentley, who has 18.6, Pitt State, who has 17.2, or Grand Valley, who has a whopping 31.9, we're clearly lacking in that department compared to some of the top teams within this playoff, right? So the 5 major key things that I feel like are important to winning games, and especially it's something that a lot of championship teams are good at and have a lot of success at. are one, effective field goal percentage, right? How, not really how many times you shoot in the ball, but how effective are you when you're shooting the ball, right? Defensive efficiency is number 2. And we already know we're kind of having, not, I wouldn't say troubles with defense, but just troubles with defensive transitions. And I feel like that's really coming from fatigue, if I'm being honest, right? After that, you got the rebounding margin, and we're going to talk about the rebounding margin for sure. And then I would like to say turnover margin or / like assist to turnover margin. So how many turnovers we're giving up and how many, points after a turnover are we getting? How many turnovers are we turning into buckets per se? And then, clearly your free throw percentage. So if you have a 45% or better effective field goal percentage, you're looking pretty good, right? So Southern, we're sitting at a 45.91. That's good, but we're going to talk about what's so bad on the opposite side of things, right? So Grand Valley has 53.85, Bentley has a 52.43, and Edinboro has 48.45, with Pitt State also having a 54.26. Now, what you're going to see here is the top teams, like the teams that are the top dogs, they have above this 50% rate, right? However, though, the reason why I say Southern sitting in a good spot, but it's also bad, I also didn't want to just look at that. I wanted to see, right, and this plays into the defensive efficiency as well. I wanted to see, well, how effective are we letting our opponents be, right? So, for Southern, our opposing teams, if EFG is 44.83. It's not a big difference from our 45.91. But let me show you why this is so bad. Remember how we said that Grand Valley's was a 58.85? Their opposing team, EFG, is a 40.17. That's almost 14% more. Then you have Bentley, who's at 52.43. They're holding their opponents to 40.69. Again, more than 10 points above the other team. Edinboro, 48.45. The opposing is 42.22. Pitt State, 54.26. The opposing is 42.92. So if it's good that we have the 45, right? And I wouldn't even necessarily say it's bad that the opposing is 44. But we either have to get more efficient with our shooting or stop letting or cause havoc on defense to where the other team isn't as efficient as us, per se. Because that's really what it's looking like when we're only up by like a point couple of percent. A 1 point and some odd percentage, right? Then we're going to move on to defensive efficiency. So, if you're holding teams to under 65 to 60 points, you're good. So, we're actually averaging for points per game for our opponents 59.6. So, we're sitting at a good spot for that, right? But Edinboro's at a 61, right? Bentley's at a 51, right? Pitt State's at a 62, and Grand Valley's a 52, right? So, I say this to say because if we look at it, right, it's just not looking good. But, I mean, no, it's looking good because we're holding them under, we're looking good. We're looking good in that department. So, in terms of defensive efficiency, we're actually doing pretty well. However, just recently, I just feel like our rotations have been sloppy, or we get fatigued in the game, and we, just don't move as quick on the rotations on defense. But no, our defensive efficiency is really good right now. Where it really takes a turn at for the worse, and this is why I said it earlier, we're going to talk about it, is the rebounding margin. If you're averaging 5+ more rebounds or better, you're looking like a team that can make a run in the tournament, in the Division II tournament, right? But And I never really like paid this any mind. I didn't really like. I thought it mattered when I used to when I do look at the stats, but I didn't pay no mind because at times we would win or we would lose, or I wasn't really thinking of how much this affected the game. If I'm being honest, our rebounding margin is only a .8 difference. We're averaging .8 more rebounds than our opponents in games. That is not good. Granted, there's a size difference, right? We don't have a lot of size on our team, so I can understand how we might be getting out rebounded. We're not even out rebounded. We're not getting all the rebounds we could and should be getting. But when you look at all these other teams that are who had very good seasons or who can possibly make a very good run in this playoff run, Edinburgh is averaging 4.0. Remember, we had to say 5 and better. They're not 5 and better, but they're better than .8. Bentley has a 8.1. Pitt State has a 9.5. And Grand Valley has a 10.1. So if it's anything we need to worry about, especially within this playoff run, we got to box out and we got to get these rebounds. We have to out-rebound the other team. That is clear-cut importance. Because when we're looking at these other teams that are getting all these rebounds, these rebounds, it could be defensive, it could be offensive. If it's offensive, we're getting second chance points. If it's defensive, we're getting more offensive possessions. And we're limiting second chance points. See where I'm going with this? It all correlates. So then we move on to turnover margin. And I'm kind of on the fence about this, but it's not too bad, right? So, if you're under 12 turnovers, you're looking good. And if you're, over 1.2 to, if you're averaging 1.2 assists to every turnover, you're looking pretty good, right? So, let's see. We are giving up 13.7 turnovers a game. That's not too bad, right? Not too bad. Not at all. But the assisted turnover margin is actually 1.2 to 0.07. So that's actually looking really good, right? That's really good. Not really good, but that's kind of average. It's decent for teams that make good runs in the playoffs. Edinburgh, they're giving up 15.5, and their assisted turnover margin is actually worse than ours. It's 0.9 to 0.6, so we're doing better than them. Bentley, they're giving up 13.1, but they're 1.3 to every 6.6 of a turnover. Pitt State, they're giving up about 12.8, 13 turnovers, and then Grand Valley's giving up around 13 turnovers as well. But their assisted turnover margin is a 1.4 to a 0.4. So they're doing miraculous in that department. We're kind of in the middle, and that's why I'm kind of on the fence. I don't know if it's just a good thing or a bad thing per se, but we're right on the cusp of everybody else. So I think that's pretty good. What I will say, where we blow out everybody else, when we talking about these important stats, is free throw percentage, right? We are actually averaging 79% from the line. Okay, that's really good. That's really good. Every game we either missing 1 or 2 free throws. We're not really missing too many free throws, so that's why I'm not really worried about that, because we tend to have that on lock. If I'm being honest. If I'm being honest, we do really well when we're making our free throws. Edinburgh is averaging 78.6, so they're up there with us. Bentley's averaging 75.6, Pitt State 74, and Grand Valley 75. So what I really want to talk about, right? Because I don't want to just sit here and say, oh, these are important, and not tell you why they're important, right? So, I say that to say is this, right? Free throws, when the game's coming close down the line, the easy buckets are the ones that matter the most, right? So being able to hit every time you get to the line, or majority of the time you hit to the line, even 79, that's dang near 80%. You're looking really good. We already explained why getting the rebounds is so important, and I don't think I really need to explain anything else, because it don't matter how many shots you're putting up. It really don't. What matters is how effective we're being when we're putting up those shots. And defense speaks for itself. So, March 14th, Friday, St. Anselm University, first round. It's a senior night rematch. If you seen that senior night game, you know we were supposed to win. We came out strong in the first half, and then second half, I don't know what happened. Maybe we was a little tired. Maybe we just got a little too happy. Emotions were flowing because it was senior night. But we ended up letting St. A's get back into the game. I feel like we were playing with our food, quite frankly. But we let them get back into the game, and they end up hitting a half-court buzzer beater shot to force overtime, where we then lost the game. They didn't do nothing spectacular in overtime. We just didn't get anything rocking on our side. So, when we're looking at this St. A's team, we have to truly understand who has the knife, right? And in my general, honest opinion, it is nobody else than Addison Silikoski. Now, you might ask me, who's Addison, right? Why does she have the knife? And what do I mean by the knife, right? So, what I mean by the knife, quite frankly, is who's most likely going to be the person we need to focus on stopping? Who can hurt us, right? And I say Addison because she is really this St. A's team, if I'm being honest. When you look at these games, she's sitting here getting 21. She's getting... Last time we seen St. A, she had 21 points, 10 rebounds. But she's not the only person, right? Somebody else I want to talk about that potentially has a knife is Melanie Hoyt. These two, and you could sprinkle in Tatum Forbes over there, or like a Katie Lemansky, but it's really Addison and Melanie, right? These two, if they get going, we're going to have a long day. We're going to have a long day. Especially Addison. I feel like the key for this game is we got to box her out. And we just got to get pressure in the paint. Like, we have to play defense this game, or we will be getting a first round exit. Which, I'm not going to lie, I feel like I know we're a better team than St. A's. I know we can beat St. A's. I seen it on the senior night game, and I feel it in the energy this week. What can we do? Like I said, we got to shut down the paint. We can't let Addison get going. Number 25, we can't let her get comfortable in the paint, get her post moves, post up. We need Katie to be body to body on her. We got to take that out. And we need to be able to rotate on defense. Also, we got to get in the passing lane. We got to attempt these steals. Because the last time we played them, and this is really interesting, we had 24 points off of turnovers, and we had 32 in the paint. So, we can score in the paint against St. Anselm. And clearly we could get steals. If we're getting 24 points off of turnovers against them in one game, then sky's the limit for this one, right? Who's to say we can't do it again? So, as long as we're getting in these passing lanes, we're moving fast on these defensive transitions, we're getting back, we're not letting the fast break happen, that will put us in a great spot to win on Friday. It will put us in an amazing spot to win. Another thing is we got to keep our bodies fresh. We have to rotate. We have to sub in people. I feel like that's something that we don't do enough of. And I know the roster's not that deep compared to other schools, and especially when we're talking about matchups and, things of that nature, but we can't let our team get gassed after a certain point. We have to play a full game of basketball. We can't play one quarter. We can't play 2 quarters. We can't play a half or the last half. We have to play a complete game. We have to play defense for the entirety of this game. Because if we don't, we see what happened when we don't. They came back late, pushed it to overtime, and then we didn't have the energy to keep going, and they ran away with it. If we're being honest, we really just shot ourselves in the foot the last time. And if it's one last thing I want to say that can help us win, we have to stay out of foul trouble. We can't let Katie get into foul trouble. Can't let Jill or Hope get into foul trouble. Right? We have to keep those plays like that on the court to give us the best possible chance to go against a team in the playoffs and win. We have to. So, I'm predicting this game to lean on the Southern side. I have faith in Kate Lynch and her team and her girls. I have Southern winning a close one, 65-62 in regulation, no overtime needed, and that's my take on that. And if we do win, Bentley plays UNH on the other side of this bracket this week as well. So if we do win this game, when we win this game, we have a possible rematch against Bentley again for the fourth time this year. And for that game, I'm saying fourth time's a charm. Right? And we're going to talk about that really briefly. The last two meetups, our effective field goal percentage was 39.68 and 41.4. Under 45. That's an X. We allowed more than 60 to 65 points. 80 and 67. That's an X. The rebound margin, we had 28. They had 39. No. Yeah, we had 28. They had 39. Minus 11. They had 11 more boards than us. That's bad. That's bad. Second time around, 37 to 40. Minus 3. That's 3 X's in a row. We didn't have above a 45 effective field goal percentage in both games. In both games, we allowed more than 60 to 65 points. And in both games, we got out-rebounded. We were the most efficient from the free throw in both games, and in both games, we won the turnover battle. But you see, out of those 5 things, we only did 2 right, and we lost both times. Shoot. I'll even go to tell you this. Knowing this information, we have to take our time with our shots. We can't just be chucking up shots this game. No. We have to be effective with our shooting. And knowing that we allowed more than 60 to 65 points both times, let's try and control the game and go at our pace. Let's hold them under, that 60 to 65. And the first time they only had 67. So we're not too shy for that, but we got to get there. And then we got like I said, we gotta box out. We can't let Addison get going. We can't let her sit here and out rebound our team. We have to box out and we have to win the rebound battle. If we do those 3 things, I feel like I know we're gonna shoot the best free throw percentage in this matchup coming Friday. I feel like I know we're gonna win the turnover battle. But those other 3 things, I'm not too sure on. That's that for women's basketball. I want to talk about track. So, Hannah Kaula winning Indoor Female Track Athlete of the Year. She's absolutely dominant on the track this year. She kicked off the season by setting the NCAA Division II record in the 300-meter dash at the Boston University Sharon Collier Danville season opener, right? She ran the 3rd fastest time nationally in the 400-meter dash at the Boston University John Thomas Terrier Classic with a time of 53.4. She's smoking girls out of their boots. That is literally the 12th all-time time in all of Division II. Not just the conference, not just the region, but all of Division II. She also holds a top 50 time nationally in the 200-meter dash. She won both the 200-meter dash and the 400-meter dash at the NE10 Indoor Track and Field Championships and held the top time in the conference in 200, the 300, 4, and the 5. And don't forget, she's a relay runner. as well as the 4x4. Right? This qualified her for the 25 NCAA Division II National Championships, which is going to be her first time qualifying for indoor nationals. After placing 9th in the 400-meter dash at the last year's outdoor nationals, right? So, she ain't new to the national stage. She's just not doing it outdoor. She's doing it indoor now. So, she will be competing on the 13th through the 15th up there in Indianapolis, Indiana for that, right? We also got Cameron Belton. Shout out Cam. For those who don't know, Cam was actually on the football team when I was on the football team. Came in the same class as me. Ended up going the track route after a little bit. And he's been killing it. He continues his decorated career winning his third NE10 Field Athlete of the Year. He won it in 22, 24, 25. 3P. 3 of them things, man. But after qualifying for the national championships for the 4th straight year in a row, just last week, he recorded his 6th best shot put throw in all of Division II, throwing 18.24 meters. That's 59. What is that? 59 feet, 10.25 inches? Sheesh. He placed 14th at the 2024 NCAA Division II Indoor Track and Field Championships. All right. Then we have Matteo Viviano. Shout out Matteo. I was his RA when I wasn't RA up in Chase Hall. He had a dominant rookie season, right? He recorded 5 top 5 finishes in the pole vault, including winning the event at the NE10 Indoor Championships. He matched or surpassed 4.4 even. Oh. He matched or surpassed 4.40 meters 7 times this season. Only one other athlete in the conference exceeded 4.20 meters. He did it 7 times, and only person got above 4.20. So, Mateo, rookie field athlete of the year. So, our track team, they're killing it right now. And I want to shout out their coach, John Wallen. He earned his 11th NE10 Indoor Track and Field Coach of the Year award after the Owls captured their 17th indoor conference title. You heard that? 17th indoor conference title. And this is his 11th NE10 Track and Field Coach of the Year award. Wallen has also been honored 11 times during the outdoor season, where the Owls have won 18 NE10 championships. He won his 3rd straight NE10 Cross Country Coach of the Year earlier this year at the SESU's men's cross country team, won their 3rd straight title. Breaking barriers out here on the field, man. Nathaniel Barbosa, shout out Bosa, another guy that was on the football team with us back when we first got into college, ended up going the track route. He's also been killing it. He broke out in the 2024-2025 indoor season, qualifying for the national championship for the first time. He also recorded his top throw at the Art Kaddish Elm City Challenge, throwing 18.20 meters. That's 59 feet and 8.5 inches. That is so crazy. That is so far. That's more than half a football field. Which is the 8th best throw in all of Division II. He won his 2nd consecutive silver medal at the NE10 Indoor Track and Field Championships. And guess what? Belton and Barbosa Torres were the only throwers in the NE10 to even exceed 16 meters, 17 meters, and 18 meters. But look, both of them will be competing March 13th through March 15th at the Division II Nationals alongside with Hannah. So let's really clap it up for our track team. Man, every year they're killing it out there. Every year they're doing what they got to do. They compete really well. They train hard, and it shows. 17 straight. Or even if it's not straight. It's actually, no. 17 total, 8th straight. NE10 title. Gotta be breeder monsters out there. Shout out Coach John Weiland and the staff. Shout out Cam. Shout out Mateo, Nathaniel. Shout out Hannah. I wish you guys nothing but good luck as you go to nationals, as you guys go to Indy, and I hope y'all come back with some gold. I really do. So women's basketball, Kate Lynch, I'm rooting for you. I'm gonna be watching the game on Friday. I'm not gonna be there, but I'm gonna be watching it right here from my room. We believe in you guys. The whole Southern community believes in you guys. Go out there and make us proud. Show them our way. Show them how we do things and how our pedigree is. We don't settle for nothing short but championships. And we're going to get back to that here at Southern. And it starts now. Why wait when we can start now? But with that being said, that's actually the episode for today, guys. As you can tell, this is the first one with visuals. You can finally put a face to the name for those that don't know what I look like. But yeah, this has been the Nest That Night podcast. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for tuning in. And I can't wait for more.